Hey, welcome. Today, we're going to tackle a big one, artificial intelligence. You know, if you've ever felt like your head is swimming in a sea of tech jargon, well, this one's for you. Let's dive right in and make sense of it all.
So you hear these words constantly, right? AI, ML, algorithms, models. They're just everywhere, in the news and commercials, you name it. And if you've ever found yourself thinking, am I supposed to know what all this means? Well, you are definitely not alone.
Honestly, it's a feeling that pretty much everyone has, because this field is just loaded with complicated terms. But don't you worry, our entire goal today is to cut right through all that noise. We're going to break this whole thing down using some really simple, everyday examples that just click. I promise by the time we're done, you'll have this crystal clear picture of how all these pieces actually fit together. So let's start with the big one.
All right, let's begin with the biggest, broadest term of them all, artificial intelligence. You'll hear it called AI. This is really the foundation for everything else we're going to talk about today.
So at its very heart, AI is the grand idea, the big goal of creating a system that can think and make decisions on its own. But, and this is super important, it's not magic. An AI has to be trained on very specific information before it can do its job.
To make this real, let's just use a simple little story. Picture a robot, okay? And its one and only job in the world is to learn how to sort a pile of fruit. Now, the key here isn't what it does, but how it learns. We don't sit there and code a bunch of rules like, if the fruit is red and round, it must be an apple. Nope. Instead, we train it. We show it thousands and thousands of pictures of apples and oranges and bananas, and over time, it just starts to recognize the patterns all by itself. Eventually, it can look at a new piece of fruit and make the decision to sort it correctly. That right there, that's AI in action. So if AI is the car, then what's the engine that actually makes it go? Well, for most of the AI we see today, that engine is something called machine learning. So let's pop the hood and see how this powerful thing works. Machine learning, or ML for short, is the process of learning from data. Remember how our fruit sorting robot wasn't given a big list of rules? That's ML at work. It's all about a machine taking in a ton of data and getting better and better all on its own. You know, here's another way to think about it that I really like. It works a lot like how a little kid learns to tell the difference between animals. You know how it goes. At first, a toddler might see a fluffy little dog and shout, "Kitty!" That's an error, right? But then they see more examples, more pictures in books, more dogs at the park, more cats sleeping on the couch. They start to pick up on the little differences, and slowly but surely, they get more and more accurate. That is exactly what a machine learning system does. It just improves through experience with data. This is the very same idea that powers your Netflix recommendations or that Spotify playlist that seems to read your mind. Pretty amazing, huh? Okay, so we've got AI, which is the big idea, and we've got machine learning, which is the engine. Now let's put the puzzle pieces together and see how they're related, because this is where a lot of the confusion happens. This brings us to the million-dollar question. Are AI and ML just two fancy words for the exact same thing? And the answer is a big, clear no. Understanding why is the key to unlocking all of this. Let's boil it down. Think of AI as the what. It's the broad, ambitious goal of making machines that can think. Machine learning is the how. It's a specific, incredibly powerful tool we use to actually achieve that goal. It's one of the main ways we build AI today. You know, the best way to picture this in your head is like this. Imagine artificial intelligence is a giant umbrella. It's this huge, overarching concept. While tucked right underneath that umbrella is machine learning. It's a part of AI, a subset. And if you were to look even closer, under the machine learning part of the umbrella, you'd find even more specific tools, like deep learning and neural networks. The main thing to remember is that ML is part of AI, not something totally separate.
Okay, so now that we've got our foundation solid with AI and ML, let's talk about some of the really exciting new tools being built with this technology. These are the terms you're probably hearing about all the time right now.
First up, generative AI. This is a complete game changer. This is a type of AI that doesn't just analyze things that already exist, it creates brand new stuff. Think about those tools that can generate a wild image just from a sentence you type, or a chatbot that can write a surprisingly good poem. That's the creative power of generative AI. Next up, you'll hear the term AI model. Don't let it intimidate you. The absolute easiest way to think about a model is to just think of it as a specific recipe.
That's it. It's the core component that has been trained to do one very specific job, like a recipe for identifying faces in your photos or a recipe for translating Spanish to English.
And finally, we have AI agents. Now, these are the smart helpers that can actually do things for you. So instead of just answering a question, an agent can take action. Think of a digital assistant that doesn't just tell you flight prices, but actually goes online, finds the best deal, and books your tickets for you all on its own.
Okay, wow, we have covered a lot of ground. So let's pull all this together into one simple, easy-to-remember takeaway.
So here it is, your new mental model. Just remember this. AI is the big overall dream of smart machines. Machine learning is the #1 way we're making that dream happen right now. And things like generative AI, models, and agents, those are the awesome new tools being built with this technology. See, it's a nice, clean hierarchy from the biggest dream down to the specific tools.
And that's really it. You now have the fundamental building blocks to understand this incredible world of AI. That confusing jargon, it's not a barrier anymore. It's a blueprint. So the real question is, now that you speak the language, what are you going to build or create? Or maybe just understand a little bit better tomorrow? Thanks for tuning in.